Infinite void.
One view is enough. What if I told you that just getting one view on your YouTube video could be enough? Not 1,000 views, not 100,000 views, just one. At first, that sounds ridiculous. You spend hours writing, recording, editing, and uploading a video, only for one person to watch it. But what if that one person is exactly who needed to hear what you had to say? I think a lot of us struggle to create because we're obsessed with the number at the end. We upload something and immediately check for views. 5 views, 10 views, maybe zero, and suddenly we start to question ourselves. Was the video bad? Am I boring? Does anyone care? Should I even keep doing this? We let a number decide whether our effort was valuable. But imagine changing the goal completely. Instead of saying, I need to get this video to get 1,000 views, you say, I just need one person to watch this. One person who laughs. One person who learns something. One person who feels less alone. One person who thinks differently because of something you created. Suddenly, the pressure starts to disappear. Because one view isn't just really a number. Behind that is a human being, a person with their own problems, dreams, insecurities, experiences, and life. You don't know what they're going through when they click on your video. Maybe they're watching while eating dinner. Maybe they're lying in bed at 2 a.m. Maybe they're having a terrible day and your video gives them 5 minutes of something positive. And here's the part we forget: you don't need to reach everyone to make an impact, you only need to reach someone. Think about a teacher. A teacher doesn't need every student to remember every single lesson forever. If one student genuinely understands something because of that teacher, the lesson mattered. The same thing applies to creating. Maybe you make a video about self improvement, creativity, loneliness, confidence, or becoming 1% better every day. Maybe one person watches it, but that person takes one idea from your video and actually uses it. They wake up the next morning and make one small change you may never even know about. That's the strange thing about creating something for the internet. You can see the views, but you can't see the impact. Analytics can tell you how many people clicked. They can't tell you how someone felt after watching. They can't tell you whether your words gave someone hope. They can't measure the conversation someone had with themselves after your video ended. So here's a challenge: make something for one person. Don't imagine an audience of millions. Imagine one person sitting across from you. What would you tell them? What would you want them to know? What problem could you help them with? Then make the video for that person. And honestly, I think this is the mindset that makes you a better creator. When you're trying to please everyone, your content can become generic. You start thinking about algorithms, trends, thumbnails, titles, retention, and what everyone else is doing. But when you're talking to one person, you can actually be yourself. You can say the thing you've been afraid to say. You can share the weird ideal. You can tell the story that doesn't perfectly fit into a trend. You can experiment, and that's where your real voice starts to develop. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you're standing on a stage in front of an empty theater. There are 500 seats, but only one person is sitting in the front row. Would you walk off the stage because the theater isn't full? Or would you perform for the person who showed up? I think most of us would perform. We'd probably appreciate that one person even more because they chose to be there. So, why do we treat the internet differently? Why should a video suddenly become worthless because 499 seats are empty? Your first video might get one view, maybe five, maybe 20, and that's okay. You're not failing, you're building the ability to create without needing immediate validation. You're learning how to speak, write, edit, tell stories, communicate ideals, and become more comfortable putting your work into the world. And there's something incredibly powerful about continuing when nobody is watching, because eventually you develop something more important than an audience, and that is discipline. You learn to create because you decided to create, not because someone promised you attention. Think about how freeing that is. You don't need permission. You don't need thousands of subscribers. You don't need everyone to understand what you're doing. You can simply wake up, make something you're proud of, and put it out there. And maybe one day that view becomes 10, 10 becomes 100, 100 becomes 1,000. But there's the important part. You don't build that future by obsessing over the future. You build it by making videos that is in front of you today. So instead of asking, how do I get more views? Maybe ask a better question. How can I make this one view worthwhile? How can I make the first 30 seconds interesting? How can I make one ideal clearer? How can I tell the story better? How can I leave this one person with something they'll remember? Because if you can learn to make one person care, you can eventually learn to make 10 people care, then 100, then 1,000. Growth isn't some magical moment where suddenly everyone cares about you. It's built one person at a time. And maybe this applies to more than YouTube. Maybe you're writing a book nobody really has read yet. Maybe making art nobody has seen, starting a business nobody knows about, learning an instrument nobody has heard you play, creating something that feels invisible right now. Don't let the lack of an audience convince you that your work has no value. You don't need the whole world to validate what you're doing. One person is enough to start. One person is enough to matter. And sometimes that one person can even be you. Maybe you create something because you need to express something. Maybe you create because you want to see what you're capable of. Maybe the process itself is changing you. So the next time you upload something and you see one view, don't automatically think nobody cares. Instead, think somebody watched. One person gave you their time. One person clicked. One person gave you a chance. And maybe that's enough, because every audience starts with one person. Every creator starts with one piece of work, and every journey starts with one small step. So make the video, post the thing, create anyway, and if one person watches it, make it worth their one view. You've reached the end of this video, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Thanks for watching!